The Defiance. Maya Chen's fingers danced across the holographic interface, her eyes reflecting the blue glow of the schematics floating before her. The asteroid facility hummed with quiet urgency around her, the recycled air carrying whispers of hope and rebellion. 5 years since the Galactic Concord banned humans from building warships, and here she was, designing exactly that. Power distribution still shows a 15% inefficiency in the port quadrant, she muttered, more to herself than to Commander Reeves, who stood behind her, arms crossed and face grim. "Can you fix it?" Reeves asked, his voice low and gravelly after decades of shouting orders across the bridge of warships that no longer existed, at least officially. Maya nodded, zooming in on the problematic section. "I can reroute through the secondary conduits, but it's not ideal. We need better materials. We need a lot of things, Chen. Make do." The harsh reality of their situation hung in the air between them. Humanity, once a rising power in the galactic community, had been systematically hobbled after the Regelian conflict. The alien coalition calling themselves the Concord had deemed humanity too aggressive for interstellar stability and enforced a strict ban on human military vessels. Trading ships, scientific explorers, colony transports, all permitted, but nothing that could fight back against the increasingly predatory practices of Concord members. Maya had been fresh out of the academy when the ban took effect. She'd watched as proud captains were forced to surrender their vessels, as shipyards were dismantled or converted to civilian use. She'd seen her parents, both naval engineers, struggle to find work that wouldn't offend their pride. "The Phoenix will fly," she promised, using the code name for the project. "And when it does, the Concord will realize they've only made us more dangerous by forcing us underground." Reeves almost smiled. "Almost. Let's make her fly first, then worry about sending messages." Maya returned to her work as Reeves departed, the heavy door sealing with a pneumatic hiss behind him. The Phoenix represented more than just a ship. It was a statement, a declaration that humanity would not be relegated to second-class status in a galaxy they had helped build. The facility itself was a marvel of human ingenuity, hollowed out from a mineral-poor asteroid in a system the Concord considered worthless, powered by carefully masked fusion reactors, staffed by engineers and soldiers who had refused to accept defeat. For 3 years, they had labored in secret, using materials smuggled through complex networks, components built piecemeal across dozens of human colonies to avoid detection. Maya's comm unit chimed. "Chen, we've got the new shield modulators. Santiago's team is bringing them in now. Tell them to take them straight to Bay 4, she replied. "I want to install them myself." 4 hours later, Maya stood in the cavernous construction bay, staring up at the Phoenix. Unlike the sleek, obvious warships of the past, this vessel had been designed for deception. To casual observation, it resembled a bulk hauler, ungainly, utilitarian, the kind of ship that wouldn't merit a second glance. But beneath the mundane exterior lay a revolutionary weapon system, enhanced shields, and engines that could outrun anything in the Concord's peacekeeping fleet. "Beautiful, isn't she?" Santiago said, joining Maya on the observation platform. The chief weapons officer's dark eyes gleamed with pride. "She will be, once we solve the power distribution issue." Maya couldn't afford sentimentality. "Not yet. How's the weapons calibration coming?" Santiago grinned. "The graviton lances are online. If your power systems can feed them properly, they'll punch through a Concord cruiser like it's made of paper." "That's a big if, Santiago. Have faith, Chen. The best minds humanity has left are working on this ship." Maya nodded, though doubt gnawed at her. The best minds, perhaps, but working with scraps and stolen technology, always looking over their shoulders. The Concord had monitoring stations throughout human space, AI systems constantly scanning for unauthorized power signatures, materials transfers that might indicate military construction. A klaxon suddenly blared through the facility. "Attention all personnel," Reeves's voice echoed. "Prepare for emergency protocol. Possible Concord patrol detected at the system's edge." This is not a drill. Maya's heart pounded as she sprinted toward the command center, Santiago at her heels. The Phoenix wasn't ready. The shields were partial, the weapons barely integrated, the engines untested. If they were discovered now, everything would be lost. The command center buzzed with controlled panic as technicians and officers moved with practiced efficiency. Reeves stood at the central console, his face illuminated by the tactical display showing a Concorde vessel approaching their system. "Status," Maya demanded. "HFY patrol cruiser, standard sweep pattern," Reeves replied. "They shouldn't detect us if our masking holds." The Defy were one of the founding species of the Concorde, sinuous, six-limbed beings with technological prowess that had once impressed humanity. Now, their elegantly curved ships were the bane of human space, enforcing restrictions and scanning for contraband. "And if it doesn't?" Santiago asked what everyone was thinking. Reeves's jaw tightened. "Then we initiate scorched earth. Nothing for them to find except radioactive debris." Maya felt ice in her veins. 3 years of work, hundreds of lives committed to this project, all potentially reduced to atoms if that patrol came too close. She studied the cruiser's approach vector on the display. "They're following standard search protocols," she noted. "They have no reason to suspect this particular asteroid. This is routine." "Let's hope you're right," Reeves said. For 6 agonizing hours, the facility operated on minimal power, life support systems throttled down to near-dangerous levels to minimize their signature. The construction bay was evacuated, sealed, and depressurized to reduce heat emissions. Every member of the project huddled in designated safe zones, many clutching weapons, prepared to fight if detection became boarding. Maya couldn't stop thinking about the Phoenix, sitting unfinished and vulnerable. All their hopes, their defiance against depression, embodied in that metal frame. She accessed a small terminal, keeping the power draw minimal, and continued refining her power distribution schematics. If they survived this, she would be ready to implement the solution immediately. Finally, the all-clear sounded. "Patrol has left the system," Reeves announced, visible relief in his normally stoic expression. "Resume normal operations, but maintain alert status." As the facility hummed back to life around her, Maya made a decision. "Commander," she said, approaching Reeves as the command center emptied, "we need to accelerate the timetable." Reeves raised an eyebrow. "The Phoenix isn't ready. And it won't be if we keep waiting for perfection. This patrol was routine, but the next one might not be. The longer we work here, the greater the chance of detection." "What are you suggesting?" "A test flight. Next week, just in local space, enough to verify the core systems. Then we move the operation, split up the final construction between multiple sites to distribute the risk." Reeves considered her words, obviously weighing the dangers against the necessity. "The engines haven't been properly stress-tested. I'll have them ready," Maya promised. "We can't afford to waste more time." After a long moment, Reeves nodded. 1 week. Make it happen, Chen." The next 7 days passed in a blur of activity. Maya barely slept, pushing herself and her team to their limits. The power distribution problem proved stubborn, but she eventually devised a workaround. Not elegant, but functional. The shield modulators were integrated into the system, providing coverage for the most vulnerable sections of the ship. The engines underwent simulation after simulation until Maya was satisfied they wouldn't explode during their first real ignition. On the day of the test, Maya stood on the Phoenix's bridge, a stripped-down version of what it would eventually become, but operational. A skeleton crew of 12 occupied the essential stations. Reeves stood beside the makeshift captain's chair, declining to sit. "All systems report ready," Maya said, checking the final diagnostics. "Engineering stands by for engine activation." Reeves surveyed the bridge crew, meeting each person's eyes in turn. "You all understand the risks. This vessel's existence violates Concorde law. If detected, we'll be classified as pirates at best. terrorists at worst. There will be no rescue, no recognition of human rights. Last chance to walk away. No one moved. Very well. Reeves nodded to the pilot. Take us out, Lieutenant. 1/4 thrust until we clear the dock. The Phoenix shuddered as its engines engaged for the first time. Maya watched the power levels anxiously, but they held steady. The massive bay doors opened before them, revealing the star-speckled void beyond. Increasing to half thrust, the pilot announced. The asteroid fell away behind them as the Phoenix entered open space. Maya felt a surge of fierce pride. Against all odds, against the will of a hostile galaxy, humans had built a warship again. Shields activating, reported the defensive systems officer. 72% coverage. Weapons systems on standby. Santiago added from his station. Graviton lances charged but Safedied. Reeves allowed himself a rare smile. Take us through the test pattern, Lieutenant. Let's see what this ship can do. For 30 minutes, the Phoenix performed admirably, executing maneuvers that would have been impossible for the bulk hauler it pretended to be. The engines responded smoothly. The power distribution held despite Maya's concerns, and the shields maintained integrity through simulated stress conditions. Then everything went wrong. Commander, the sensor operator's voice was tight with alarm. Concord signature detected. Dry-ferry patrol vessel on approach vector. How did they find us? Santiago demanded. Doesn't matter, Reeves snapped. Evasive action. Power down weapons. We can't let them detect military-grade energy signatures. The Phoenix banked sharply as the pilot responded to orders. On the tactical display, the Dreferi vessel adjusted course, unmistakably in pursuit. They've seen us. Maya stated the obvious. Communications incoming, reported the comms officer. A melodious, multi-tone voice filled the bridge. Unidentified vessel. This is Concord Enforcement Cruiser Righteous Mandate. You are operating in a restricted sector. Power down and prepare for boarding and inspection. Reeves gestured for the channel to be muted. Options. We run, Maya said immediately. The Phoenix is faster than they expect. We can make it to the Kuiper debris field and lose them, and lead them straight back to our facility. No. Then we fight, Santiago suggested, hands hovering over his weapons console. Reeves shook his head. The Phoenix isn't ready for combat. One lucky hit to our incomplete shield grid, and we're done. Maya's mind raced through possibilities. There's a third option. We use what they think we are. Understanding dawned on Reeves's face. Smugglers. Exactly. We act like panicked contraband runners. Make some mistakes. Let them get close. Then punch our engines and disappear. They'll assume we're just another group of humans breaking minor regulations, not building warships. It could work, Reeves acknowledged. Santiago, power down everything except minimal defensive capabilities. Make us look like a retrofitted hauler. Lieutenant, prepare for a smuggler's run. The bridge crew worked quickly, reconfiguring systems to present the appropriate profile to Concord scanners. Maya rerouted power from weapon systems to engines, giving them the burst capacity they would need. Reeves reopened the communication channel. Concord vessel, this is independent trader Nomad's Fortune. We're conducting legitimate salvage operations. No boarding necessary. Your vessel does not match any registered configuration. The Drefari voice replied. Power down immediately or face disabling fire. Now, Reeves ordered. The Phoenix lurched as the pilot executed a clumsy-looking but precisely calculated maneuver, appearing to stumble in its attempt to flee. The Dreferi cruiser followed, closing the distance. They're preparing to fire warning shots, the sensor operator reported. Let them get one off, Reeves instructed. Then full burn to these coordinates. He transmitted a course that would take them through a densely packed debris field. Difficult navigation that would separate them from their pursuers. The tactical display flashed as the Dreferi fired a warning shot across their bow. The Phoenix shuddered slightly from the near miss. Full burn now. Reeves commanded. The engines roared to life with all their suppressed power. The Phoenix shot forward, acceleration pressing the crew into their seats. The Defy cruiser attempted to follow but quickly fell behind, unable to match their suddenly revealed speed. "They're hailing us again," the comms officer reported. "Ignore it," Reeves ordered. "Maintain course for the debris field." 15 tense minutes later, the Phoenix slipped between the first massive chunks of ice and rock that formed the system's debris field. The Defy cruiser, unwilling to risk damage navigating the treacherous terrain at high speed, held at the perimeter, continuing to broadcast threats. "We've lost them," the pilot confirmed as they emerged from the other side of the field, quickly adjusting course to approach the facility from an indirect vector. Reeves nodded, tension visibly draining from his shoulders. "Good work, everyone. Especially you, Chen. Your design performed when it counted." "Barely," Maya replied, already mentally cataloging the dozens of improvements needed. "But it was enough for today." As they docked once more within the asteroid facility, Maya knew that everything had changed. The Phoenix had flown. It had evaded Concord forces, and soon it would fight. The message to humanity would be clear. The ban had failed. Humans were coming back to the stars, not just as merchants and colonists, but as warriors once more. "It's just the beginning," Reeves said quietly beside her, as if reading her thoughts. "We'll need more ships, more crews, more facilities." Maya nodded, determination hardening within her. "Then we'd better get to work, Commander. The Phoenix is just the first." Outside the facility, the stars burned cold and distant, unaware that the balance of power was about to shift. Humanity had been pushed to the edge, stripped of its defenses, but instead of submitting, they had gone underground, emerging stronger and more dangerous than ever before. The Defiance had begun. The reckoning. 3 months after the test flight, the Phoenix had transformed. Gone were the exposed conduits and temporary patches that had marked its first journey. The hull gleamed with stealth coating that absorbed rather than reflected sensor suites. Inside, crew quarters had been completed, weapon systems fully integrated, and Maya's power distribution problem solved with an elegant solution involving quantum capacitors smuggled from the Arcturus research outpost. Maya stood in the engine room, running final diagnostics on the enhanced propulsion system. The encounter with the Defy patrol had proven the Phoenix's potential, but also highlighted its vulnerabilities. The entire project had shifted afterward, with components and personnel dispersed across 3 different hidden facilities to mitigate risk. The Phoenix itself had been relocated twice before returning to the original asteroid base for final integration. Engine efficiency at 97%, she noted with satisfaction, updating her report. Shield harmonics stabilized across all quadrants. Her comm unit buzzed. "Chen, report to command immediately," came Reeves's terse instruction. Something in his tone sent a chill through her. She hurried through the corridors of the facility, noting the increased security presence. Armed personnel stood at intervals, faces grim and weapons ready. The command center was crowded when she arrived. Officers and technicians gathered around the central holodisplay. Commander Reeves stood at its center, his usually stoic expression now openly concerned. "What's happening?" Maya asked, pushing through to join him. Reeves gestured to the tactical display. "We've been compromised." The hologram showed multiple Concord vessels converging on their system from different vectors, not just patrols, but heavy cruisers and assault carriers. Maya felt her blood run cold. "How?" she demanded. "Intelligence is still determining that," Reeves replied. "But the scale of the response suggests a major security breach. They're not coming for smugglers or rule breakers, Chen. They know exactly what we've built." Santiago stepped forward, his normally confident demeanor subdued. "We've intercepted Concord communications. They're assembling a task force specifically to destroy the Phoenix and any facilities associated with it." "How much time do we have?" Maya asked. 18 hours until the first vessels arrive," Reeves answered. not enough time to dismantle and evacuate. The implications hung heavy in the air. 3 years of work, the hopes of a resistance movement spanning dozens of human colonies, all about to be discovered and destroyed. Maya refused to accept it. "Then we launch," she said firmly. "Now. Today." Reeves shook his head. The Phoenix was designed for hit-and-run operations against isolated patrols, not to face an entire Concord battle group. "It doesn't need to defeat them," Maya insisted. "It just needs to escape them. Once the Phoenix is safely away, it can continue the mission from hidden bases. We've already distributed the schematics to trusted cells. This isn't about one ship anymore. It's about proving it can be done." The command staff exchanged glances, weighing her words. Santiago was the first to nod in agreement. "Chen's right. Better to launch now than let them destroy everything we've built without a fight." Slowly, Reeves nodded. "Very well. Prepare for immediate launch. All non-essential personnel will evacuate to our backup facilities. The Phoenix will draw the Concord forces away from this sector, giving our people time to scatter." "I'm going with the ship," Maya stated, not a request but a declaration. "I expected nothing less," Reeves replied. "You have 4 hours to make any final adjustments. After that, we launch, ready or not." The next few hours passed in a blur of activity. Maya worked feverishly with her engineering team, pushing the Phoenix's systems to their absolute limits. Additional power relays were installed to support the weapon systems. The stealth systems were fine-tuned to mask their signature during the initial escape. Every non-critical system was stripped down to conserve energy for propulsion and defense. Throughout the facility, similar scenes played out. Crew members were selected for the dangerous mission, while others prepared for evacuation. Critical data was backed up and distributed. Charges were placed at strategic points throughout the asteroid base. If the Concord wanted evidence of human military resurgence, they would find only floating debris. When the time came, Maya stood on the bridge of the Phoenix, now wearing the proper uniform of the chief engineer. The bridge crew, no longer a skeleton complement but a full operational team, worked with quiet efficiency at their stations. Commander Reeves occupied the captain's chair, reviewing final launch preparations. "All systems report ready," Maya announced after a final check of her console. "The Phoenix is as prepared as she'll ever be." Reeves nodded, activating the ship-wide communications. "Attention all hands. This is Commander Reeves. In moments, we will depart on the Phoenix's first true mission. Our goal is straightforward but vital: to prove that humanity cannot be contained, cannot be disarmed, cannot be subjugated. Each of you volunteered for this duty knowing the risks. Whether we succeed or fail today, know that your courage has already changed the course of human history." He paused, letting his words sink in. "We face overwhelming odds. The Concord sends not one ship but a fleet to stop us. They fear what we represent, and they are right to fear. For centuries, humanity has been underestimated. Today, we remind the galaxy why." The comm clicked off. Reeves turned to the helm officer. "Take us out, Lieutenant. Full stealth protocols until we clear the system." The Phoenix slipped from its berth with barely a whisper, maneuvering through the cavernous launch bay with precision. As they emerged into open space, Maya felt a strange calm settle over her. After years of secrecy and strain, the moment of truth had arrived. Course plotted for the Hernandez Gap, the navigation officer reported, referring to a little-used transit corridor that might allow them to slip past the approaching Concord forces. "Execute," Reeves ordered. "Maximum sustainable speed." The Phoenix accelerated smoothly, its enhanced engines purring with contained power. Behind them, the asteroid facility receded, soon to be abandoned. Maya wondered if she would ever see it again, or if this desperate gambit would end with their capture or destruction. For 3 hours, they traveled in tense silence, sensors constantly scanning for Concord vessels. Their route took them through dense fields of planetary debris, along the edge of a small nebula. anywhere that might confuse or block enemy sensors. Contact. The sensor officer's voice broke the quiet. Multiple Concorde signatures detected ahead. They've established a blockade across our intended exit vector. The tactical display updated, showing 5 Concorde vessels in formation, positioned to intercept any ship attempting to use the Hernandez Gap. They predicted our escape route, Santiago said grimly from the weapons station. Alternatives? Reeves asked, studying the display. The navigation officer hesitated. We could attempt to circumvent by going through the Scylla maelstrom, but the gravitational distortions would stress our structural integrity. And the other option? Fight through, Santiago stated simply. Reeves considered both choices, then turned to Maya. Chief Engineer, can the Phoenix handle the maelstrom? Maya calculated quickly. The hull can withstand the pressure, but the shield grid would be compromised. If we encounter enemies afterward, we'd be at a severe disadvantage. Then we fight, Reeves decided. Battle stations, everyone. Santiago, prepare the graviton lances. Engineering, divert all non-essential power to weapons and shields. The bridge transformed as the crew shifted to combat operations. Status displays changed from navigation to tactical information. The lighting dimmed slightly as power was redistributed. Stealth systems disengaging, Maya reported. Combat systems online and at full power. Reeves leaned forward in his chair, set course directly for the center of their formation. Maximum speed. Let's see if we can surprise them. The Phoenix surged forward, abandoning stealth for pure speed. On the tactical display, the Concorde vessels reacted, breaking formation to intercept. They're hailing us, the communications officer announced. Let's hear it, Reeves said. A stern voice filled the bridge, speaking the common galactic language with the distinctive harmonic undertones of the Vasudan species, one of the Concorde's senior enforcement branches. Human vessel, you are in violation of Concorde Regulation 713, prohibiting military-grade spacecraft construction by restricted species. Power down immediately and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in your destruction. Reeves signaled for the channel to be muted. Status of the nearest vessel, Vasudan destroyer, approaching at intercept vector. The tactical officer reported. Weapons hot, shields at full. Target their propulsion systems, Reeves ordered. Minimal force. We're not looking to start a war today, just to escape. Aye, Commander. Santiago acknowledged, fingers dancing across his console. Graviton lances targeted and ready. Reeves reopened the communication channel. Concorde vessels, this is Commander Reeves of the human vessel Phoenix. We acknowledge your regulations but reject their legitimacy. Humanity has the right to defend itself, a right no species can justly deny another. I advise you to stand down. The response was immediate. Preparing to fire. The Vasudan voice warned. Final warning. Now, Santiago, Reeves ordered. The Phoenix's primary weapons, graviton lances developed in secret from theoretical research banned after the Rigelian conflict, fired for the first time in actual combat. Beams of concentrated gravitational distortion lanced out, striking the Vasudan destroyer's engine section with surgical precision. The effect was more dramatic than expected. The destroyer's propulsion systems catastrophically failed, secondary explosions rippling along its hull as emergency containment systems engage. Direct hit, Santiago reported, surprise evident in his voice. Their engines are offline. They're dead in space. The other vessels are changing formation. The tactical officer warned. They're surrounding us. The remaining 4 Concorde ships moved to encircle the Phoenix, their weapons charging. Maya watched the power distribution carefully, diverting additional energy to the shields as they prepared to absorb the coming assault. All vessels firing, came the warning. The Phoenix shuddered as multiple energy beams struck its shields. Maya gripped her console as the deck vibrated beneath her. Shield status, Reeves demanded. Holding at 83%, Maya reported, relief in her voice. The modifications worked. Return fire, Reeves ordered. Target propulsion, and weapons only. The Phoenix's graviton lenses struck again, this time hitting a Defy patrol cruiser. Unlike the Vasudan destroyer, this vessel was equipped with more advanced shielding that partially absorbed the attack. Nevertheless, visible damage appeared along its weapons array. Santiago, load the countermeasure package, Reeves commanded. This was Maya's other innovation, a system designed not to destroy but to disable. Based on stolen Concord communication protocols, it would broadcast conflicting command signals to enemy systems, creating temporary confusion. Package ready, Santiago confirmed. Deploy. The Phoenix emitted a pulse of electromagnetic and quantum signals specifically tailored to disrupt Concord targeting systems. On the tactical display, the enemy vessel's movements became erratic as their systems processed contradictory information. "It's working," Maya exclaimed. "We have approximately 2 minutes before they adapt." "Full thrust through the gap between the Defy and Terexian vessels," Reeves ordered. "Santiago, one more volley to widen our exit path." The Phoenix's engines roared as it accelerated through the temporary opening in the Concord formation. The graviton lances fired once more, forcing the Terexian vessel to veer off to avoid critical damage. For a moment, it seemed they would break through cleanly. Then disaster struck. "Commander, new contacts entering the system." The sensor officer's voice was tight with alarm. "Concord heavy cruisers, 3 of them." The tactical display updated, showing massive warships entering from the system's outer edges, the main force they had hoped to avoid. "Time to intercept?" Reeves asked, his voice steady despite the deteriorating situation. 7 minutes at current speed, came the reply. Maya watched as Reeves calculated their options, his expression grim. The Phoenix had performed admirably against the blockade, but 3 heavy cruisers were beyond its capabilities. "New course," he finally said. "Take us into the Scylla maelstrom." The navigation officer stared at him in shock. "Sir, with our shields weakened from combat." "It's our only option," Reeves cut him off. "The cruisers won't follow us in. Set course immediately." As the Phoenix changed direction, heading toward the swirling gravitational disturbance visible, even to the naked eye through the viewports, Maya hurried to prepare the ship's systems for the stress to come. "Reinforcing structural integrity fields," she reported. "Redistributing shield coverage to hull stress points." The blockade ships pursued them, but their fire became increasingly inaccurate as the Phoenix approached the maelstrom's outer boundary. The natural phenomenon interfered with targeting systems, creating a zone of relative safety, albeit one that carried its own deadly risks. Entering the maelstrom in 30 seconds, the helm officer announced, hands tight on the controls. Reeves activated the ship-wide communication again. "All hands, brace for extreme turbulence. Engineering teams, stand by for emergency repairs." The Phoenix crossed the threshold into the maelstrom, and chaos erupted around them. Gravitational forces pulled at the ship from multiple directions, creating shearing pressures that no vessel was designed to withstand. The hull groaned in protest as metal and composites were tested to their limits. "Hull integrity at 84% and dropping," Maya reported, working frantically to reinforce failing systems. "Shields collapsing under the strain." "Maintain course," Reeves ordered, his knuckles white as he gripped the arms of his command chair. "Maximum thrust." The view screen showed a nightmarish landscape of swirling energy and debris, illuminated by random discharges of exotic particles. Navigation became an exercise in reaction rather than planning, the helm officer constantly adjusting their course to avoid the worst gravitational eddies. Concord vessels breaking off pursuit, the tactical officer reported with relief. "They're holding position at the maelstrom boundary." "Can they track us through this?" Reeves asked. "Negative, sir. The interference is too severe." Small victories, Maya thought, as she rerouted power from a failing shield emitter. If they survived the maelstrom, they would emerge with no pursuit. But in what condition? The Phoenix endured 10 minutes of punishing passage through the phenomenon, each second threatening to tear the ship apart. Warning indicators flashed across Maya's console faster than she could address them. Emergency repair teams worked throughout the vessel, sealing breaches and reinforcing structurally compromised sections. When they finally emerged from the other side, the Phoenix was battered but intact. Maya allowed herself a moment of pure pride. Her design had survived what few ships could endure. "Damage report," Reeves requested, his voice hoarse. "Multiple hull breaches, all contained," Maya responded. "Shield grid offline. Weapons at 60% capacity. Engines operating at reduced efficiency, but functional. Life support stable." That at least was good news. "Navigation, where are we?" The navigation officer worked for a moment, consulting the star charts. "We've emerged roughly 2 light-years from our entry point, sir. We're in unclaimed space, beyond immediate Concord jurisdiction." A collective sigh of relief passed through the bridge crew. They had escaped, bloodied but unbowed. "Set course for Rendezvous Point Omega," Reeves ordered. "Best possible speed." Rendezvous Point Omega was one of several predetermined coordinates where the Phoenix could meet with support vessels from the human resistance. There, they would receive repairs and new orders. As the Phoenix limped away from the maelstrom, Maya began organizing repair priorities. The ship had proven itself more capable than even she had dared hope. Its first true combat engagement had been against overwhelming odds, yet here they were, still flying, still fighting. Hours later, with the immediate crisis past and repairs underway, Maya joined Commander Reeves in his ready room adjacent to the bridge. He was reviewing footage of their battle, studying the performance of both the Phoenix and its Concord adversaries. "You should rest, Chen," he said without looking up. "You've earned it." "So have you," she replied, taking the seat across from him. "But neither of us will we?" He smiled faintly. "Probably not." "What happens now, Commander?" "The Concord knows we exist. They'll be hunting us with everything they have." Reeves finally looked up from the display. "Now we do what the Phoenix was always meant to do. We inspire others." Already, encrypted transmissions are spreading across human space. The Phoenix faced a Concord blockade and escaped, proof that their restrictions can be defied, their military might challenged. "One ship can't win a war," Maya said. "No," Reeves agreed, "but one ship can start a revolution." He activated a display on the wall, showing a map of human territories. Small lights began to appear across it. Dozens, then hundreds. "Each light represents a resistance cell receiving our signal," he explained. "Some are building ships of their own, using the schematics we distributed. Others are gathering resources, recruiting personnel, establishing hidden bases. The Phoenix isn't alone, Chen. It never was." Maya stared at the proliferating lights, understanding dawning. This was always the plan. The Phoenix was never meant to defeat the Concord, just to prove it could be done. Precisely. Reeves stood, moving to the viewport where stars streaked by. Humanity thrives when challenged, when pushed to its limits. The Concord thought they were neutralizing a threat by banning our warships. Instead, they forced us to become more innovative, more determined, more dangerous than ever before.